Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen? Well, let's learn about her. Marie Laveau is believed to have been born around 1801 in New Orleans as the illegitimate daughter of Creole plantation owner Charles Laveau and his mistress Marguerite. Marie was described as being tall, beautiful and statuesque with curly black hair, golden skin, and good features, meaning more white than black. And for decades she held ceremonies where participants would become possessed by voodoo spirits. She dispensed charms and potions, she healed the sick, she told fortunes, she even saved several men from the gallows. And even though there's so much information about Marie Laveau and the lore and myths in New Orleans, it's so hard to distinguish the fact from the myth. On August 4th of 1819, she married carpenter Jacques Paris, a free person of color from Haiti, and they went to live in the French Quarter of New Orleans. Now, it wasn't before long where he went missing and was presumed dead in 1824, and after his disappearance, she began referring to herself as the Widow Paris. And after the disappearance of her husband, she became a hairdresser to create economic stability for herself and her family, and through this work, she was exposed to the personal information of her wealthy white clients who saw her as a confidant, and with this information, she was able to provide informed counsel to those who sought her advice. In 1826, she entered a common law marriage with a white man of noble French descent, Christophe Glapian, and together they had 15 children, some of which died of yellow fever. But it was because of her family that she quit hairdressing and devoted all her time to become the legendary Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. And Marie learned her craft from a voodoo doctor known in some circles as Dr. John or John Bayou, and by 1830 she was one of many voodoo queens. And Marie had a way of combining voodoo beliefs and Catholic traditions which made voodoo and hoodoo more acceptable to the upper class of New Orleans. And Marie excelled at what she did, and she quickly came to dominance as the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans, taking over the rituals and ceremonies held at Congo Square. She ran an operation at a Maison Blanche where secret voodoo meetings were being held, as well as rendezvous between white men and black women were taking place. She acted as an oracle, she performed rituals behind her house on St. Anne Street, she performed exorcisms, and she even made sacrifices to the spirits. And once the news of what she could do and what her powers were spread, she overthrew all the other voodoo queens in New Orleans. But don't get it twisted, even though a majority of what she was doing was helping people, she was also feared for her power, as there was numerous stories that went around about what happened to those that crossed her. On June 15th of 1881, Marie Laveau died peacefully in her St. Anne home at the age of 86. She's buried at the St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 in the Laveau Glampian family crypt. I did want to touch on some things about her that most people don't talk about: her community service. You see, she used to nurse yellow fever patients, she would post bail for free women of color, and she would sit with the condemned and pray with them in their final hours of life. Marie Laveau wielded tremendous power in her community, so much so that she's still respected today, and visitors by the hundreds still visit her grave.